Hey dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about a moment where our baby Jungkook was being a little cruel to our baby Jimin. I don't know who to side with here on this. Jimin is so sweet and Jungkook is a mean baby for doing this one. And we actually want to talk about BTS being harmed by armies just a little bit. It's of course interesting to talk about BTS's safety and overall that sort of thing. I think it needs to be said. And just their overall ability to kind of live their life freely. I think it's very important to talk about that. So let's get into the tea, but before we do that, we actually have a sponsor for today's video. Special thanks to Surfshark VPN. This is going to be extremely helpful, especially in these kind of times. Just to have a VPN to better protect against things like passwords, IDs, and personal information. You'll get alerts every time it's being used, so you'll know right away if that was you or if that wasn't. It's especially useful for watching videos in another country or from another country. If I want to see exclusive content like stuff that's only available in Korea or other parts of the world, a VPN is the only way that I'm going to be able to do that. Also, a cool little life hack. If you didn't know, different parts of the world show different things on Netflix. So if you already watched everything on Netflix from your personal area, you can set Netflix to a different country and you can have access to different TV shows. You literally just change the location, pick whichever one you want, and then you can start watching. Surfshark VPN has 24/7 customer service, so if you have any issues, you can talk to them. They also have a 30-day money-back guarantee, which is always good. If you do use my code, DaveDesai, you'll get 85% off and an extra 3 months for free. I'll link all of that below. That's a really great deal. Make sure you check them out and make sure you thank them for sponsoring today's video. So if you are new here and you're interested in K-pop tea and all that sort of thing, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell so you'll be notified anytime a new video drops. And if you use a hater, like to be the first to leave your hate comment, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell also so you can be the first to do so. Now, with all that said, let's jump into it. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the kind of cruel act that Jungkook did to Jimin. It's mostly playful and fun, but I think if I was Jimin, I would be a little peeved. Maybe a lot peeved. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, but I know it's in good fun. I definitely want to hear how you feel about it. I'm not saying they hate each other. They obviously don't. This is just like brotherly love kind of teasing thing, and I'm also just joking and teasing as well. This is just my opinions and what I think and all of that. So we know Jimin is someone who may be a little insecure about his height. I honestly don't think he should be. To me and to a lot of armies, he's a good height. I couldn't imagine him being taller. If he's worried about dating, I personally have never been attracted to someone just because of their height. Literally, height makes no difference to me. In fact, my last crush was actually around Jimin's height. And Jimin is super successful. So if a man or a woman wouldn't date Jimin just because of his height, then you need to find a new man or a woman because that person is not for you. That is the devil. But there was this moment where Jimin and Jungkook were kind of on stage, hanging out, chilling, doing a concert. Jungkook signaled Jimin to kind of come over and give a high five right in the middle of the performance. And Jungkook reached so high to make sure it was the highest point at which, of course, Jimin could not reach. Jimin, of course, ran over, jumped, tried to make that high five to Jimin because, of course, Jimin doesn't want to leave Jungkook hanging. Only poor Jimin couldn't make it. And Jimin ended up falling on stage, tumbling to the ground. Cue Titanic music. Oh, Jungkook, how could you do this to Jimin? I love you, Jungkook, but that's just mean. But hey, if Jimin was my close friend, I would do it too. You gotta tease each other just a little bit. Keep things interesting in the relationship. Jimin, of course, immediately laughed it off. He continued his performance. So we know it's all good and in good fun. Jimin did get up and do that kind of tongue thing that you know that he might be a little bit pissed off. So we know he's temporarily annoyed, but it wasn't a big deal. When they went ahead and continued their choreography, they stayed on track, they stayed on beat, all of that usual stuff, and they pretend like nothing happened. I hope Jimin doesn't get teased too much in the group for his height. He's perfect to me, okay? I love him. I will marry you. If you want to have a little marriage, no pun intended. Cookie is a cute and adorable man, of course, but sometimes he does things like this that is a bit devilish, but that only makes him more attractive to me because he's got like an edge. He's like a round Easter bunny that suddenly has a knife.
Like, stab me, daddy. I like that.
Jungkook is dangerous. Ooh la la. I definitely wanted to see if anyone on the tweetster had anything to say about this. Perhaps they had some of their own opinions. One army wrote this. LMAO, remember when Jimin went for a high five, but Jungkook just... We will never forget this moment, okay? It'll forever be burned in our brain. But I do think a lot of armies were definitely having a good old laugh over this. The ones in the audience were definitely having a fun time. It also shows how close they are, Jimin and Jungkook. Because if Jimin was not close to someone like this, and that person did this, I'm sure that person wouldn't be comfortable doing this, because there definitely would be an argument later. Also, I don't think they would have done it in general, like they wouldn't just have been comfortable enough to do it. You can't tease a stranger about their height, you know what I mean? I mean, if I did that to Jimin, I'm sure he'd slap me to the next race. He's like, Asian race, they don't want you no more. You bring shame to them. Goodbye. But hey, how many people could say they've gotten slapped by Jimin if that were to happen? Jimin ain't out there slapping people, so I'm definitely probably going to be the first. Another user definitely went out there to say that there's no ill intent behind what Jungkook did. It's all in good fun. They said this. They always tease each other. There's no actual ill intent behind it. I totally agree. It's all teasing and fun. As you can tell, Jimin is of course not mad at this at all. If my friends started doing this, I would definitely start cracking up because it is really funny. Or punch them in the balls, you know, whichever I feel like that day. Depends on the mood. Jungkook was definitely in a teasing mood. But hey, we also have moments like this. Remember when Jimin ignored Jungkook's high five? LMAO, this will be forever fun. This might be the reason why Cookie did that thing on stage. Karma, get you back. However, I don't know which moment was first. But either way, I've noticed a trend with high fives between them. They should just both high five each other 100 times in a row backstage and just get it over with. They'll be good for the next 100 high fives. They don't gotta do this in public. But oh, look how sad Cookie is from that high five. But speaking of sad Cookie, it is of course very sad to see sometimes Jungkook and BTS be hurt by some armies. We of course have the one-off armies that occasionally tweet some things that are not great, that make all armies look bad. However, then we also have armies selling out things that BTS uses. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but this literally happens with everything that they wear and use. For example, when Taeyang uses like a chapstick or something, or when Jungkook talks about a specific fabric softener, they all sell out. I'm sure you guys know this, right? Sounds familiar. It does definitely sound like a great thing because then it supports the company and the company is willing to sponsor the BTS boys. However, it does then make it impossible if the brand doesn't choose to sponsor BTS for the BTS boys to get any of the material that they need. Because now it's going to be hard getting the thing that they like and getting the thing that actually works for them. So let's say one particular chapstick that Taeyang uses is the only chapstick that ever works for his lips. Other ones just don't work. They make him more chapped. Now it's sold out. Well, Taeyang boy over here is going to have chapped lips forever now. And if Jungkook uses a specific fabric softener because his clothes are just too rough and nothing else works, well, he's going to have rough clothes from now on. Other instances of armies kind of ruining BTS's lives is when they try to do normal things. BTS, of course. I think Hobby mentioned how he one time wanted to go to the Apple store just to buy something or maybe to look at some of the new products. Like the Apple store is usually a fun place for most people to hang out. Like if you're into Apple products, you're a tech kind of guy, it's a place you go, you can kind of enjoy the new technology that's there. But obviously they can't go in there for a very long time without eventually drawing out a crowd. Hobby was then like, we have to go, it's getting crowded. And then sometimes even paparazzi show up. This could obviously be very scary because you are then obviously trying to just have a normal day and suddenly you're attacked with paparazzi and then a very large crowd. I'm sure BTS is not mad at armies for doing this. They know it comes with the job, it comes with fame. They mentioned definitely before how they gave up the opportunity to have a normal life. They gave that up in their 20s. And they will likely never have a normal life from this point on. That makes sense, of course, because if they step away from the spotlight, it's not like people forget about them. It's not like the fame just then goes away. People obviously don't forget who you are, they still remember your faces, especially since your faces were literally plastered everywhere for a couple of years. TV, news, all that stuff. And BTS especially, because I think we would even recognize them, us armies, even if they had full-blown hoodies and sunglasses on. Moments like this, of course, do scare the BTS boys. They've mentioned that, but they've also mentioned that it comes with a job and they're aware of that. They gave up their normal life just so they can have an extraordinary one. I don't think they'll miss having a normal life because each one of them has had a normal life before all this. It's not like they were born into famous families or born into singers that are famous and they weren't born into paparazzi and all that stuff. BTS's kids might actually be born into it, but BTS themselves weren't actually born into it. Some of them, of course, know what it's like to not have money or walk down the street and not be able to buy something or walk down the street and not have fans come at them. If they really liked the times of their quote-unquote normal life, they would have just kept doing that. They would have just gone ahead and found a regular job. They would have just done that. But they wanted to go out of their way to create art, to sing, to dance, to do extraordinary things. And that's what they did. That's what they ended up creating. And they ended up changing the world. Well, I don't know if they actually wanted to change the world, but that's what they ended up doing. They ended up speaking up for importantly worldly issues, and us armies are also speak up on important issues, so it ends up relating to them as well. But I think most importantly, I'm definitely happy that they chose this path. This was a tweet written on Cookie's birthday, and I think it was very interesting to talk about it. I wanted to read it. It reads, "I hope you have an amazing birthday, Cookie. You will be able to spend it with your family and friends. Rest well and come back even better than before. Please have fun, and I hope you get to have a piece of the normal life you gave up for us and BTS." I don't think it was particularly tough for any of the members at the time to give up their normal life, at least in the beginning, because they didn't know it would be like this. I mean, you can't expect this. And people can tell you all the time the kind of struggles of fame, but everyone still wants to be famous, right? So I think it's very easy in the beginning to kind of be like, yeah, I want to be a singer, I want to be famous, and then keep doing this and not know what it entails. But maybe now that they do experience fame and kind of have their privacy invaded all the time, they realize maybe this is not what they want. That's what I think. That's my thoughts. I think it's very interesting. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what your thoughts are. Leave it down in the comment section down below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm featuring this comment right here. Thank you so much for your comments. And as always, I do have a Patreon if you want to go over there to my Patreon and kind of check that out and contribute back to this channel. Anything you can contribute over there really does help kind of give back to this channel and help me keep going and all that sort of thing. So I really do hope you go over there and check that out. You can get exclusive content over there such as music video reactions, performance reactions, ship reactions, all that stuff on my Patreon. I'll leave a link in the description down below so you can check it out. There's also 2 videos that will pop up on the end of the screen. Click on one of those videos. I'll see you over there. Bye.